reluctant activist, since she began to re-examine her worldview in light of the dystopian unfolding, quote, new normals. Earlier this year, Helen appeared on Times Radio Drive and Talk Radio to discuss her Cake and Liberty campaign, which involves distributing homemade cakes, friendly smiles, and designing chats about the current sorry state of affairs with towngoers every Saturday in her Scottish hometown of Fife. You can follow a heartfelt account of Helen's journey on her Cake and Liberty blog. Thank you, Helen.
Well, thank you, Naomi, and that was just the entire first paragraph of what I was going to say. So I'm now going to come around and pass, and please, if you could pass these out. Now, I'm terribly sorry for any vegans, because these are made with eggs and butter, as well as sugar and cocoa and various other things. But if you have any non-vegans at home or people who would like that, everything is otherwise free range and organic though. Please take one or two and pass them around. And these are the cakes that I pass out, that I hand out.
No thanks, I'm vegan, yeah.
In St Andrews. I previously, when this whole thing happened in March of last year, I took it very seriously. I was out there with my pots and pans clapping for the NHS. I thought, we were all rallying together, lit spirit. With hindsight, I was probably insufferable. But as the summer wore on, and especially the autumn and winter, and I could not see any justification whatsoever that the data was giving for the measures that we were taking, and how the collateral damage of these measures, especially on the most vulnerable, was so obscene, so gratuitously, so grotesque, that I felt that sitting back in my comfortable provincial town, in my nice house with my big garden, wasn't really an option anymore. And whatever you think about the vaccination, and my thoughts about it now are very different to what they were at the time, but I reasoned that once the first 4 most vulnerable groups most vulnerable to COVID had received their first jab, which was by the middle of February this year, and give it 3 weeks for immunity to apparently be conferred, that I saw no possible justification for any restrictions beyond the 8th of March. And the 8th of March came and went, and absolutely nothing happened. I was being non-compliant. And of course nobody noticed, because everywhere was shut. In Scotland at the time, we were under what was officially called stay-at-home orders, which I am now thankfully only calling house arrest. And all the shops were shut, no cafes. There was no one to register the fact that I was no longer complying with this. And I posted a few things on Facebook, tumbleweed really. Twitter was much, much better. I could really engage with people on Twitter. I could find like minds, and we just spared into the ether. And again, nothing happened. We just, all our energy is just dissipating, because in our own echo chamber of misery, frankly, at that point, yeah, we agreed with each other, but it wasn't changing anything, it wasn't doing anything. And for all I knew, my little town of St Andrews, it could have been full of people who agreed with me, but how would I know? Because we were all being isolated to this. Now, spoiler, it wasn't full of people who agreed with me. But anyway. So there we were. We're under this stay-at-home order, and there are 3 reasons that we can leave our house, and that's to buy food, to care for another person, and to take exercise. So in thinking, okay, how can I do something that people are going to see? So this was in March, remember, and after a long winter, everyone's depressed, everyone's grey, it's raining all the time, especially in Scotland. I thought, I'm going to do something cheery. I'm going to do something, I'm seeing my neighbours alone, depressed. I sort of cross them on walks and they leap into the path of oncoming traffic rather than actually sort of walk past me on a pavement. I am going to do something cheerful. I'm going to go into town, which I can excuse because I can say that this is my daily exercise. I'm going to dress in bright colours to cheer people up. I'm going to smile. I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm going to smile at other human beings. And I'm going to hand out cake. And that's how, actually, Cake and Liberty was born. I wanted to start conversations. I wanted to make human connections after having been isolated for so long. And then to use that as an excuse to talk about restrictions. So the first Saturday that I went out, I had actually spoken to a criminal solicitor who was on speed dial in case I got arrested. I had a burner phone tucked down on the side of my boot.
Burner phone, you know, like an anonymous phone.
What has become my uniform, which is this really kind of pretty 1950s tea dress in bright blue, was with big petticoats and stuff, was chosen because a friend of mine had recently been arrested for handing out library books. And she'd spent a couple of nights in the cells because she'd been arrested on a Saturday. And she said that the loos in the cells were kind of part of the cell. There was no privacy and you were kind of on camera and things like that. So I thought, well, at least if I'm wearing something with a big skirt, my modesty. Seriously, this was my logic.
Wow.
Anyway, so the first time I went out, so I posted about it on social media saying that I was going to be doing this. And one of my Facebook friends must have shocked me to the police because this has not happened before or since. But on the morning that I was out, circling in the square where I said I'd be, were 2 police vans packed full of police. And I'm there, like Mary Poppins, in my bright blue dress and my basket of cakes. And they circled a couple of times, obviously decided that I was harmless and went away, and I've not seen them since. But this is the mood of what I was doing when I started doing it. So the first time a number of friends came out, we did some press releases that we put to local media, who actually sent a photographer, but nothing ever got published. And so I had friends. We handed out cake. It was fine. Mostly it's just me doing it. Sometimes people come and join me to do it. Last Saturday was the 16th Saturday that I did it. And when I started out, I just thought I've got to do something. I might do this maybe twice, maybe 6 times, and then just peter out. So be it. I'm just going to see where it goes. And I deliberately did not make it success contingent on other people doing it as well. Now I know that there are other people in other towns who have occasionally done this too, and that's great, that's wonderful, and they tell me about it, and if they send in pictures and I can remember how to work my website, I'll put up photographs in the gallery pages. But I realised that if I made success contingent on other people doing it and this becoming some sort of great movement, it would break me. It's way beyond my control, and the stress and the pressure would then become something so negative. So for me, success is if I go out on Saturday and I hand out cakes and I talk to people. I don't have Google Analytics on my website, more of an oversight than anything else, but I've never really activated it because I don't want to know which one of my blogs is doing the best. I don't want to be writing for clicks. I need to be writing my truth and putting it out there, and what will happen happens. And beyond that, that's fine. So I've brought what do I have to do? The first week that I went out, I had a banner that said "Enough is enough" on it, and since then, this is my 4th umbrella, and they have grown progressively more assertive as time has gone on. Now, bear in mind, my first one in pink said very prettily, "End the lockdown now," and it was really quite hard to read because you had to swip it around. Bear in mind, this is Scotland, and things are a lot more draconian in Scotland than they are now. So I've got "Don't jab healthy kids." Now, I don't think we should be jabbing kids at all, but you've got to work where you are at the time. But by saying healthy kids, it takes away one of the arguments that people can have against it. I say no masks in schools because in Scotland at the moment, Scottish school children are spending up to 8 hours a day with a mask on their face because we Scottish are so much nicer than you English, aren't we? Yeah. And I say no vaccine ID because this is something which, we're all there. And then my cake and liberty logo. So I walk around with this. For the London protest, I had one which said, "Get your grubby hands off my rights," which, considering it was just before the Matt Hancock thing, was particularly
intuitive.
Yes, quite. So that's 16 Saturdays when I've been handing out cakes. That's I normally hand out about 100 cakes every time. I had those little cards printed because the first time I did it, I think people who didn't quite read my discreet little banner thought I was advertising for a local bakery or something. And so, but what the cards do is that they mean that people can take it home, read them, and if they want to, they can find a link to my blog, which is cakeliberty.org. And I originally just built this basic website so that people could find me, and if they wanted to do something similar, to do it. But as it's happened, the blog has far superseded the cakes. I can only reach 100 or so people a week with the cakes, but I don't know my own blog figures, but a number of my blogs have been read out on other podcasts, on the Irreverend podcast, Think Scotland, which is a website with various opinion pieces from a lot of people who do challenge the conventional thinking, has also republished one of my blogs, and they said that for them a good read is some 300 reads, and that the last thing that I submitted to them garnered over 5,000. And they wrote to me to say, look, this is excellent. So yeah, these are all sort of unintended. This blog was an afterthought. They are unintended consequences of just standing up and doing something. And there's a Facebook group that I've set up with Cake and Liberty, where people just, it's not for sharing of the stuff that everybody always shares on all of the sites. It's for encouraging people to make small individual steps. When I'm in my hometown, it's not like going on a protest, because people know me. I mean, there are some 20,000 people in my hometown, and I've lived there for over 10 years. And I am staking all of my social credit, my reputation of who I am as a person, that I have built up within this community on speaking this truth. And there are people, I'm sure everyone here will know, that you've been derided, you've been called an idiot, you've been called a nut job, you've been called a conspiracy theorist, all of these things. And I know that when I do this, there will be people that I know who talk about me as though I'm a fool. And I don't care. I mean, I have to live with myself. I know the research that I've done. I know the damage that we are doing to the most vulnerable. I'll be damned if I'm going to sit back in my nice house and my big garden and say, stay safe, stay home, while somebody else delivers my groceries.
Yeah,
That's just no.
disgusting.
While children have their education stolen, while women live in abusive relationships because they can't escape, while friends who have built their businesses up from scratch over years, pouring everything into it, have seen them just demolished and their savings dwindling into nothing, and there is nothing they can do about it. I see friends spiraling into addiction. This is, no, I don't care. Somebody can think I'm a fool. That's minor compared to the damage which is happening, and I have to live with myself and look at the person that I see in the mirror every morning, and this is what I have to do. But what I wanted to end on was that it's so easy to feel alone, to feel a single person, to feel isolated. We are supposed to feel that way. This is the result of 16 months of isolation of no, you can see so-and-so but not so-and-so. You can go here, you can go 5 kilometres, you can do this, no, you've got to stay at home. If you do something, if you stand up, you never know who is going to see what you are doing. You never know who is going to take inspiration from seeing, oh my gosh, this person that I know, and it's so much more powerful when it's someone that you know personally. And ideally, that previously you didn't think was a complete nut job. I live in hope. If somebody that you know is prepared to stand up, it does make you think. I know nobody comments on my Facebook posts where I share my blogs, but the number of people who sidle up to me, if they come in and said, oh, I read your blog and it was really good. I couldn't click like on it because I've got a business and I don't want people to think that I agree with you. But I don't think it's right either. You take what you can, but never ever underestimate what the power of one person standing up can be. And it's like the suffragettes, it's the courage calls to courage everywhere. It really does. Thank you.